Approaching anxiety. Anxiety is something that we've all experienced at one point or another. Also, we're likely to know someone personally who has experienced significant levels of anxiety. So, what is it? Why do we have it? And what can we do to reduce the experience of it in our day-to-day lives? In a non-medical context, anxiety is defined as a feeling of unease, worry, or nervousness about something with an uncertain outcome. Something with an uncertain outcome captures everything it is to be human. The adage goes that there are no certainties in life apart from death and taxes, and as we aren't keen on either of these, then it doesn't leave us much space to avoid anxiety in principle. In a medical context, anxiety is the persistent feeling of worry or dread, which can interfere with daily life. From a neuroscientific standpoint, anxiety is the effect on the body and the mind when we're avoidant of or approaching something that we believe could cause us harm. From a philosophical standpoint, as explored by Stephen Batchelor in Alone with Others, death anxiety is the ultimate manifestation of anxiety preying on our inherent fear of being alone and dying, and is something that we will tirelessly and futilely seek to distract ourselves from the realization of. Anxiety disorders are the world's most common mental health disorder, according to the World Health Organization, affecting some 301 million people in 2019. Women are more likely than men to be affected by anxiety disorders, and it also affects a significant proportion of young people, with an even more significant spike during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Anxiety as a concept is part of human life, whereas anxiety as a disorder can be debilitating. So then, why do we have it? Extensive neuroscientific research has demonstrated that the processing of anxiety takes place primarily in the septo-hippocampal area of the brain. This area is understood to be the goal processing center. For example, what should we be working towards to promote our survival? Anxiety is the experience of an increase of negative effect, both physiologically, body sensations, and mentally, in the form of memory retrieval by the septo-hippocampal area to help shape goal prioritization. For example, if I don't find food today, I will go hungry. The felt experience of anxiety is a consequence of this process. Our personal experience with anxiety will depend on a combination of our genetics and our life experiences, and separating these two can be difficult in individual cases due to the overlap and interconnection of nature and nurture in our upbringing. Evolutionary perspectives state that we are wired to prioritize negative information inputs and will pull corresponding negative patterns from our memory processes to check the inputs against. This is good for evolutionary reasons, as it is undoubtedly attributed to the survival of the species. It is better, biological speaking, to err on the side of caution, i.e., to predict a bear to be hiding around the next clump of trees that turns out to not be there, rather than to fail to make a prediction of a bear which turns out to be there and eats you. A failure to predict will be extremely hazardous or even fatal, and overprediction will simply be an unpleasant experience. Evolution, therefore, has chosen the side of caution, not sympathy to our feelings. A life without anxiety might seem a pleasant idea, but it would leave us woefully unprotected from potential dangers. This said, there are occasions when our anxiety is overzealous and it can negatively affect our life experience and the relationships we have with others. So what can we do about it? Assuming our sense of anxiety is mild to moderate, then there are many practical steps we can take which might reduce the impact of this experience on our day-to-day lives, including mindfulness, breathing techniques, exposure therapy, and cognitive behavior therapy. From a mindfulness perspective, we can notice that our anxious thoughts are unpleasant and that we seek to push them away or dismiss them from our minds. In the manner of the pink elephant thought experiment, try not thinking about a pink elephant and see what happens. The more we try to avoid certain thoughts or feelings, the more prominently they come to bear. By allowing the feelings and the thoughts with the anxious response rather than resisting them, then we can find that the weight of the experience can lessen and that alternative thoughts and feelings may be followed to the surface instead. By allowing the feelings and thoughts associated with the anxious response rather than resisting them, we can find that the weight of the experience can lessen and that alternative thoughts and feelings may be allowed to surface instead. Mindfulness is a skill which takes practice, but it can have a profound effect on our lived experience, which in turn can help improve our relationship with others. Breathing as slowly as is comfortable can help reduce the experience of anxiety and can support this in two primary ways. Physiologically, breathing slowly in and out through the nose promotes activation of our parasympathetic nervous system, which is a resting mode. It can reduce our blood pressure and heart rate and promote digestion and healing. Secondly, by focusing attention on the slowness of the breath, we might be distracted from the noise of our thoughts and other sensations in the body, which can give us some literal breathing space from our problematic thought patterns. Exposure therapy works by encouraging people within a controlled environment to face the thoughts, feelings, and sensations of anxiety through either imagination or actual presentation with the circumstances that are attributing to anxiety. The participant is encouraged to feel the experience of anxiety and then use techniques to calm themselves before escalating the exposure another step. This might sound terrifying, but it is done in a manner to demonstrate our ability to cope and build our sense of courage to the uncertainty of life events around us. Cognitive behavior therapy works by critically analyzing our thought patterns and asking simple investigative questions such as, is this thought true? Am I predicting the future? Am I catastrophizing? This process, like mindfulness, is a skill which will become easier with practice and can help us separate the sense of us as an individual from the specific thoughts and thought patterns. This process can help reduce the volume of unhelpful thoughts and promote alternative thoughts, which might prove more helpful. So, in summary, anxiety can have a very negative impact on the felt experience of our lives, but as a concept, it is a mechanism for survival which we wouldn't want to be without. If we can help educate ourselves to understand more about anxiety and develop some skills to help us navigate it more effectively, we might be able to change our relationship with this experience for the better. Thanks for listening.